Hey, yo, what's up? What's up? It's your boy, your main man, CD Rome, back with another episode of Watch Your Narrative podcast. And we are in season 3, episode 12. And of course, the season has started. The season has started. We are 8 to 9 games into the season, and some trades have happened. We all talked about the James Harden thing saga, and he has now landed in LA where he wanted to go. So we definitely going to be talking about that today. And we look forward to talking to it. And we're also going to talk about empowerment, the player empowerment. You know, we're in a different league now, thanks to LBJ with the player empowerment. So we're going to have some great topics. So, and we got the same heavy hitters with us today, and they are anxious, more than anxious, to talk about these subjects, man. So without further ado, let's get right into it, man. Let's get it. Hey, yo. Once again, man, it's your boy, CD Rome, back live in effect. We got episode 12, James Harden, season 3, Watch Your Narrative. And we got some heavy hitters, man. What's up, Hoop Lover? What's going on, brother? Welcome back to the show.
What's up? What's up? Good to be back.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of an echo on my end. Wavy, Watch Your Narrative. What's up, Wavy? Big Wavy.
What's going on? Long time. We back though.
Yeah. And we also got Ace Boogie with the hoodie. What's up, man?
Man, bro, I'm telling you, I'm so happy to be back, man. I can't wait to talk about these items, man, we got in store, man. It's gonna be interesting for sure.
Yeah, you've been MIA, man. What's going on?
Can't wait to hear his take.
Man, life.
Huh.
I mean, I don't know, man. I had to take a little Kyrie Irving hiatus, man.
I was in jail. I'm not gonna lie. I was in jail, JP. I just got out.
And also my man Jay Nail. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on? Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you being here, man. Appreciate you being here. So with that, let's get straight into it, fellas, man. Where we were last time we talked, James Harden had yet to have been traded, but now, of course, the trade has happened. He is now where he wanted to be, where he asked, which is the Los Angeles Clippers. So the question is, because the Clippers have played a couple games now. Today is Saturday. We've seen last night, matter of fact, was a play-in game, right? Not a play-in game, excuse me, the in-tournament game. So, and they lost that game, by the way. The Clippers, they got what they wanted, but let's talk about it, man. So I'm gonna toss it over to Wavy. What are your thoughts on James Harden going to LA to the Clippers? What are your initial thoughts there?
First off, I want to apologize to Narrative Nation. The best guy with the best takes wasn't here for a few weeks, but like I told you, my situation before the show started, I got to say this. I think that James Harden is the perfect fit for the Clippers because they are a basement franchise to the better team across the way in LA, and he's a basement player. he has done this to what, 4 teams now, Sid? 4 teams now, JP, 4 teams now, Hoop Lover, 4 teams now, James, and it's all been the same resort. And please forgive my voice. I was yelling at a concert last night. But this guy right here, if this doesn't work, where does he go? What does he do now? He says the Clippers are his dream destination and that he's the system and all that other bull job. If this doesn't work, I think it's the end of James Harden's career. And I'm gonna stop right there.
Yeah, so I'm wondering the same thing because James has bounced around a couple different times now. So James, Neil, what's your thoughts, man?
Man, it's not looking good. And that's to say the least, I'm disappointed. I thought maybe, him wanting to be there is gonna kind of resurge him. Maybe he wants to, have a legitimate chance of winning, but as we see from this little sample size, man, he's been more of a detriment to the team than a help.
Yep.
I mean, you look at his points, his field goals percentage. I know it's a small sample size, but man, it's looking rough. And you can tell it's kind of throwing off Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and all the other players too. They don't know okay, when is it my time to shoot? And James Harden, he just unmotivated. I don't like the move. I don't like what I'm seeing so far.
And let's toss it to Hoop Lover. What's your thoughts initially?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. It's hard. I don't want to seem like I'm piling on. I think I think I've made my opinions and thoughts on James Harden over the years pretty well known. He's kind of, what you see at this point is what you get with him. It's a track record. But I guess, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I guess I feel worse for Russell Westbrook because Russell Westbrook had finally gotten to a point where it seemed like he kind of, was able to find a role. He was starting to play a lot better, a lot more efficiently. And Harden being there kind of throws that into flux a little bit. Honestly, and they probably would never even consider this, I honestly would probably consider bringing James Harden off the bench as a point guard for that team. Only because, and he probably would never accept that role. But I think just to keep the continuity of the starting lineup going, I would probably consider bringing him off the bench. But that's going to look like a disaster considering what you've given up to get him in terms of your picks and all that kind of thing. So I don't know. It reeks of desperation. It's the Clippers. What do we expect?
Yeah.
Kind of like Wavy said, it's the Clippers. It's a poverty franchise. I don't care how many shiny toys they bring to town every year. It's the same story.
Yeah, the beer got a grade too. But anyway, so tossing it to you to you, Boogie, like what are your initial thoughts on what you've seen in the initial trade going for James Harden going to LA?
Yeah, well, same sentiment that everybody's sharing on the panel. It's just, it's crazy how, you don't have to play NBA basketball. You just have to know basketball to understand that this is not going to work. We've seen in many instances where teams who have never had any type of success as far as championships, they get greedy. And so what ends up happening is they try to stockpile on all these former all-stars thinking that they've got something. We've seen it happen in Brooklyn. We've seen it happen with the Clippers. When you have so many players that they literally play the same style game, you only got one ball. And so the problem that I see with the Clippers, and I'm not sure if they really thought this through, the two best players on that team are Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. The fact that they brought in James Harden, who's a very ball-dominant player, he said it in his press conference. The problem that I see is when you gave away so much. And then you bring in a player who does not play defense. Now you're starting 5. You have 2 players who are below par defensively. That puts a lot of pressure defensively on Paul George and Kawhi Leonard to perform. And now, are we going to ask Paul George and Kawhi Leonard to take a step back offensively? We know that's not going to happen. And so I'm glad that Hoop Lover actually brought this up, because this was a point that I was going to make. The best case scenario, if the Clippers really wants to make this work, and if everybody buys in, James Harden is going to be the one that has to come off the bench. It's going to have to be, because we seen before this trade happened, the Clippers offensively with Russell Westbrook at the point was top of the league when it comes down to pace, points scored, as well as like percentage. They were actually a very I think they were only below the Denver Nuggets offensively. And so when you bring in James Harden, if he buys into coming off the bench, this could work, but we know it's not going to happen.
Yeah. So that was something that was mentioned too by whoever, that James Harden coming off the bench, because when I see this roster, that's a tough fit. It's a tough job for Ty Lue, to actually have to figure out how this is going to work. And I hope that the Clippers don't, if he fails at this, I hope the Clippers don't punish him as a coach and think that someone else can make this work. Because this is, I don't care if you're Greg Popovich, this would be tough for him.
But I don't think Ty Lue's gonna pay the price. I think Hoop Lover brought it up. Russell Westbrook is gonna be the one. Like he's lost millions of dollars already. And then if this situation does not work out, I mean, we could possibly be looking at the end of Russell Westbrook, because his leash is shorter than James Harden's right now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Even though they've accomplished the same amount of things in the NBA. That's crazy to me. And back to what the off the bench thing, he let them know in the press conference that's not happening.
Oh, yeah.
Saying he's the system. And
he's not
that's
not happening.
Kobe and Michael Jordan didn't even make comments about them being a system. So
Right.
that threw me.
I've never heard LeBron say that. I've never heard
Brandon.
Yeah.
Let's stay there, because I'm pretty sure, I know me and Boogie, we watched the press conference together, and we were just like,
about as bad of a press conference that you can have.
Some of the
JP and Brandon and James, can we start questioning Steve Ballmer too and his decision making?
No. Steve Ballmer is just a paycheck.
Yeah,
Steve Ballmer, he just signed checks. So you want to
who's their GM? Like Steve Ballmer. Is it Jerry West? It's
the GM. The GM.
No,
we're gonna talk about this player empowerment, but this is where we got to use reasoning when it comes down to signings, because this is just a situation where we're just trying to get butts in the seat. And for Steve Ballmer, that's the right move. You bring in big names, folks going to pay to see it, but whether it's a train wreck or not.
I think Steve Ballmer is ideally what he's what you would want as an owner. If I were a player, if I were an executive, he's who I would want as an owner. He's a goofball, but he's worth, I think Forbes got him estimated at what, $80 billion, something like that.
It's pocket change to him.
So that's what you want, somebody.
This is toy.
He wants somebody that cut checks and not ask questions, but they also need to know basketball, or at least say, hey, look, I don't know enough about it to say I don't know basketball. And so I think he's one of those guys that is gonna listen to his personnel, but he's got to have the right personnel in place. I don't know who they have making decisions. I don't know who the GM is, so I don't know, but it's a mess, man.
It is. It really is.
But can I
out of options at this point? They have to make this work, or is
But can I also mention this?
They got to rebuild.
If because the problem that I have right now is, James Harden in this press conference, just kind of going back to that, he talks about how, he's a system and this and that. But the problem that we have is James Harden on a team. It's the same situation that we talked about Russell Westbrook. James Harden on a team full of nobodies. James Harden, the reason he averaged so many assists in Houston, Brooklyn, even with the 76ers, to a lesser extent, though, it's all heavy pick and roll.
Yep.
And if you look at with the Clippers, James Harden, most of his assists was coming from bringing Zubac up, setting the screen, and then hitting the roll on Zubac going to the rim.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't actually orchestrate an offense. And so the problem that I seen when I looked at these 3 games, Paul George just sitting around, Kawhi Leonard just sitting around, Russell Westbrook just sitting around in the corner. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you know, if these guys could move, because they got lethal weapons now. If Paul George, Kawhi, if you got I hate to say it, Chris Paul would have been the person to bring back.
Yes.
Not James Harden.
Yes.
And
I can't believe I'm saying that because I'm not a Chris Paul fan at all, but that would be perfect for him.
So with that being said, because that's a name that definitely that was out there, right? That they could have probably went for, along with like the Drew Holidays of the world. I mean, it was plenty of guys. So let's go to the next question though. So like the Clippers, like did they make a mistake with their, like, should they have? And you see on the ticker here, buy or sell with James Harden. Should they have bought James Harden, or should it been should they have went another route? Let's go to Ned up here.
Well, I'll say this: if they went this route, which they did, then they should have either moved Westbrook or not have signed James Harden. You can't have both of them on the same team because both of them like to have the balls in their hand. They're both ball dominant players. So it just doesn't make sense from a basketball perspective or a team perspective to have both of them on the same floor, on the court at the same time. You're not getting the best out of Paul George or Kawhi Leonard for that matter by having both of them on the floor at the same time. So it had to be either or. It can't be both, in my opinion.
Yeah,
true.
What's your thoughts, Hoop Lover?
That would have been a hard sell for me. If I honestly they would have been better off, in my opinion, doing nothing, just leaving the team as it was and kind of see how it shakes out. Because, like you said, you got 2 guys, Kawhi and Paul George, kind of just standing. And I'm trying not to overreact because it's 4 games in now that Harden's been there. You want to see if they can get some time to maybe figure it out. But it's just, you don't have a Chris Paul, you don't have a Draymond Green, you don't have a guy who is going to be vocal on that roster that people are actually going to listen to. Kawhi is not that type of leader. Paul George isn't that type of leader. Russell Westbrook will say it, but it's kind of like it may go in one year out the other with some of these guys on that team. And the other guys just don't have enough cachet to really, be vocal and be that vocal leader. So to me, it seems like they're going to waste a lot of time trying to figure this out. And by that point, you got these other teams that are already humming. I mean, Denver looks like a juggernaut again. Look, they got smoked last night by Dallas, and nobody's going to accuse Dallas of being a good team.
Right.
And so I don't know.
They're decent.
To me, it's a sell.
Yeah.
They're decent. Yeah, I mean, I think they're better than last year. But just to make a long story short, I think it would have been a sell for me.
Yeah. What about you, Ace?
Yeah, they should have never really gotten to the James Harden business at all. Me and Hoop Lover right now are on the same wavelength because I think the Clippers should have just stayed pat. I felt like that they were actually good enough to possibly get into the second round and make a chance at the Western Conference Finals. I don't think they would have got there. But, the fact that, people forget last season when Kawhi and Paul George went down, I mean, Russell Westbrook kept them competitive. And the problem that I have is, Westbrook, he may not have some of the best playoff games, but you know that he's going to go out there and try. The problem with James Harden is James Harden disappears. And so I don't know, man. But if they can flip James Harden, to somebody, and I hate to say it, this is going to sound crazy, but this is just a little bit of a take. And I don't think this is going to be a good move, but I think this is what could happen. If possibly the Clippers, if it ain't working out, if they can flip either Russell Westbrook or James Harden to a dumb franchise, and I hate to call them dumb, but I say look out for one of those two going to the New York Knicks for either Julius Randle, for probably Julius Randle. That is what I think is going to end up happening. I know it's ugly, but I think they're going to be put in a spot where nobody's going to want either one of those two, and Julius Randle is on his way out in New York.
That take was so nasty. We're gonna have to censor it.
They've been so patient up to this point. Like I don't think they'll do it.
But they're gonna need size, because right now their starting five right now is literally 4 guards and a big.
The only thing I would say, I'll say it very quickly so we can get Wavy's viewpoint. The Knicks are in position really with all their picks, all the picks they had, the cap space, they'll be able to put themselves in position for an actual star. They're not gonna waste that. They're not gonna waste that capital on Harden. So
who going there?
See it.
Who's going there?
But it ain't Harden.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, New York is desperate for a big time name, and I feel like what's going to end up happening to get off of Julius Randle, I think that they would do something like that.
Yeah. So let's jump to Wavy there and give him a crack at. So I mean, what's your
boy, JP? That was a take right there, buddy. It's valid though. It's valid. I mean, it's valid, but it was a take. I'm selling because if Kawhi doesn't get hurt last year versus the Suns in the playoffs, that's a 7-game series. So why would we add anything? I'm just saying, like, I feel like, they're making a gumbo and they just put cherries in it.
Hot dogs, yeah.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm saying
subtraction. It's subtraction by addition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what he's 34, 35, never played defense for real, except for Manu Ginobili when he in game 6 of the Western Conference Finals when they went to the finals that year in OKC. Like, and this guy is a head. I hate to say it, but to me, he's a head case, bro. Like, he is so delusional, in my opinion, on his impact on a team in the game. Like,
at this point in his career, for sure. Yeah.
See, James, you still defending him, bro. You still jumping to his defense. Like, you gotta stop. Like, yeah, but you're right.
Go ahead. No, I'm just I've said this before. I've said this multiple times, but D'Antoni ruined James Harden.
Yes.
Before D'Antoni got there, James Harden was moving without the ball, playing efficient basketball. When he just let James Harden just become the system, as James Harden says, that was the beginning of the end for any type of competitive basketball for James Harden.
I agree.
Ever.
Yeah.
And, like, because they were even talking about bringing him to the Suns, and I'm like, why would the Suns? You know what I mean? Just terrible destinations for him to go to.
Yeah.
I would send James Harden to New York and let him finish his last careers there, being last years of his career being mediocre. Because that's what he wants.
I think the perfect narrative that I think JP has been saying this since we started the show is D'Antoni ruined James Harden. So I'm gonna leave that there because I think that's the perfect statement for James Harden, because obviously him thinking that he is the system, that's kind of a little ludicrous to me. But so a lot of the way James Harden's operate has been and it hasn't just been James Harden. He's not the first one, and at this point in history, he won't be the last one to kind of always acts his way out. We've seen it from Anthony Davis. We saw it from Dame Lillard. We saw it from years ago. We seen Melo acts out and get out. We seen Paul George do it. I mean, the list of names goes on and on. So with the way the NBA is going, with what we just saw with especially James Harden, now that this being his 3rd time. Is it his 3rd? Oh, is it
Fourth? He's 4 from 4.
4th time actually asking out, and it being very ugly at times and getting out. Like, so I'm going to kick this to Hoop Lover first. Like, does this hurt the NBA with the player empowerment? Like, if you're a Steve Ballmer or you're a coach, like, does this hurt the product of the NBA?
I mean, that's a really good question.
Mhm.
I think it depends. I personally don't mind players being empowered only because to me the impact on their legacies and their careers, they hold more sway and they can control it more, but they also shoulder the blame when it doesn't work out. So I don't mind it because you can force your way out. You can pitch a fit or you can arrange things to line up the way you want to go where you want to go, play who you want to play for. You got, look at the situation with Brooklyn. With the players. Oh, we don't need a coach. Steve Nash was done from the minute that statement was made publicly. He had no chance of that working. Now, there's those that will argue he didn't necessarily deserve to be a coach in the first place. That's here nor there. But the problem is, if you look at the James Harden situation, and not to harp on him more than we already have, but if this doesn't work out, which most people think it probably won't, where does that leave him? That leaves him in the lurch. And this is your baby. You made this bed, so you have to lay in it. And so I don't necessarily mind that players have that power because it doesn't always work out. And there's a reason why you're a player instead of a GM. It's hard to see the forest for the trees sometimes. So when you're in the middle of it, you think, man, I'm gonna play with this guy. I want to get with that system. I want to do this. There's a lot of dynamics that as a player you may not be able to see while you're playing. And so it's a risk. There's a risk and there's reward. And so I don't mind it, but I'm not sure if it'll hurt the NBA in the long run, but I think it hurts players' individual legacies more so than it will hurt the overall product.
Yeah, you never know. So, and what you think, Wavy? Let's go over to Boogie.
Yeah, no, kind of to what Hoop Labor was saying. I don't think like the overall NBA product it hurts at all. I think it gives the NBA storylines. But for franchises, yes, it definitely hurts franchises. And kind of like what Hoop Lover was saying. I mean, Hoop Lover, I gotta tell you, man, I feel like we on the same wavelength, man. It might be the drink, I don't know. But the thing is sometimes you have to save the players from themselves. Because I've been listening to Paul George's podcast, and he was talking about when James Harden's going to get there. And in a player's mind, they just think, man, if we just stock up on hoopers, people that can handle the ball, skilled players, they're going to be good. But in the Dame Lillard situation, which I mentioned before, Miami, he wanted to go to Miami, but that wasn't the best basketball situation for him. The best basketball situation for him was for Milwaukee, right? So, like with the player empowerment, all they're thinking about is two things: location and check. That's the only two things. They're not thinking about the overall fit for themselves, because as long as they're paid and they're in a place that they can enjoy, they're gonna be fine. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say that for the overall NBA product, player empowerment is pretty good, but for franchises, man, they're gonna have to cut the leash a little short.
And I was muted before saying my fault. I was double muted because I was coughing. But Kevin Durant is a prime example of player empowerment. He's one of my favorite players ever. Everybody knows this. But, like, he makes terrible choices in franchises he goes to. Number one, Brooklyn ain't won nothing. No historical value. Ain't never been to nowhere. They're basically the Clippers to the Knicks. You know what I mean? And you go there with Kyrie, who is volatile, who is his own. When they say he's his own man, he's literally his own man. And, like, he's going to these places trying to stock up on hoopers, like JP mentioned before. He brought in Kyrie, he brought in Harden. The same situation going on in Phoenix right now, where I watched last night's game to the end, and they got the offensive talent. Bradley Beal is unstoppable on offense, KD, Booker, but they don't have the defense to make a deep run. Like the Lakers had no business winning that game last night, and they won it because the Suns could not play defense. So I think it is actually hurting the league, and I think it's hurting a lot of players' legacies because KD's going to be remembered for leaving Golden State like a fool. Let's be real. To go play with Kyrie Irving. Like, come on, man. Like, let's be real here.
That is a point of player empowerment going wrong because they definitely like
that was a disaster.
Before, because even the LeBron, because this is player empowerment. That's really where this started for me was the decision, the decision era after he made that power move as a guy that was in his prime, 25 years old, to team up with two other guys that was in their prime. It was kind of unheard of, and now we see it all the time. So, Neb, what's your thoughts like on the NBA player empowerment? Is it good for the league or bad? What's your thoughts?
I think it's good for the league actually. And you mentioned it started with LeBron. I don't think it started with LeBron. It started with KD joining the Warriors, who won a franchise record of 70 plus wins.
Accusations.
You know what I mean? That's when it started.
That's not true, James.
That's
not true, James.
That's when things got done.
That's not true.
That's when things went downhill.
No,
things went downhill.
No.
But no, I think it's good though, because there's only a few players, right, that's in the league that has that kind of empowerment. You don't see a Marcus Morris or Tobias Harris or somebody like that has the ability to move that way. Well, it's only a handful of people.
It's applied.
So, yeah, I mean, it's few and far between. But the flip side of that is, you take the example of like a DeMarcus Cousins or Isaiah Thomas. Those guys were supposed to make big money, and get big time contracts, but an injury happens to them, now they're out of the league. So, we want to talk about player empowerment and things of that nature, but those same players, they look at that, they see that, and they say, well, if a franchise isn't, committed to me, why should I be committed to that franchise? So I kind of get it from both, perspectives.
But can I say this real quick, JP?
Yeah, stay there.
To piggyback, and I'm going to a whole different league here. To piggyback off of James's statement, the MLB. Joey Votto played for, and I'm a big MLB fan. He played for the Cincinnati Reds for 17 years. And to me, that's like, you got to keep him just off of loyalty to make sure that he retires a Red, right?
You don't.
But these leagues don't do that. They don't have loyalty to these players when they trade Isaiah Thomas after he scores 53 points after his sister dies. So why should the players should have, I feel like if I'm Kevin Durant or I'm LeBron, if I go and ask for a trade, you traded me today. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because they have no loyalty. Like I learned that with that Boston situation and with the Cincinnati Reds. You can play your heart out for a franchise, a mediocre franchise at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they get mad because you leave.
Hold on. See, and this is what you guys are failing to see though, is the loyalty, the loyalty part of it. Y'all talk about players getting traded today or this and that. Bro, they getting that check regardless.
Yeah.
So it ain't like that.
Loyalty is relative in business.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like to me, we can flip it and say, okay, yeah, man, it's crazy how they'll just trade you off of a whim.
Right.
Man, listen, they signed the name on that contract and they getting that money regardless of if Miami's on the jersey, the Lakers on the jersey, the Bucks on the jersey, they getting that money regardless. So, that's to me, I don't feel sorry for no player that get traded, because they signed a contract. They still getting that check. But I will say this, and I just want to touch on something that Neb said. Like LeBron James, I'm not a huge fan of LeBron. LeBron is actually, I've learned to respect LeBron. But what people fail to realize that with LeBron, with him calling the shots and this and that, LeBron is smart basketball wise. LeBron wasn't, he'll get a big name or two, but he also understood the importance of role players. So he a lot of times, man, he had a lot of say on what role players came in. Now, all these guys are trying to do, they're thinking they're doing the same thing that LeBron did, but no, all they are trying to do is just bring these huge names in and get rid of their depth, and that doesn't win basketball games.
But to me, you're proving the point of player empowerment is hurting the league because they feel like they can do what LeBron do.
But it's not hurting the league because the NBA wants people to talk about the NBA. So it helps the league.
And the other thing,
it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword.
The other thing too is somebody has to want you. I can jump out there and say, I'm going. I want to. You trade me or something. I'm gonna sign. They'd be like, okay, bye. And then you don't get picked up. Look at Dennis Schroeder, right? Look at Dennis Schroeder. $80 million. That's not enough. Okay, well here's 4. And get out of here. So it works both ways. And I would actually disagree with you, Neb. I would disagree with you on who started player empowerment as we know it. I would say it was Shaq going from Orlando to LA. I think that was the very first. That's fair. I think that's the very first opportunity where you saw that seismic shift.
Yeah, but these are we're talking about free agent moves though. Shaq didn't force
that wasn't free agent. That wasn't free agent. He was.
That's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. Like to me,
LeBron didn't force his way out of.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I just got a question. I got a question though for all y'all.
To me, the player empowerment where it starts with LeBron. See, LeBron leveraged his free agency to get what he wanted. Right. That's why he never signed these real long-term contracts. So to me, that's where it started off at. Because players have always been able to move during free agency. That was nothing special.
Honestly, the free agency thing even started back in the day with the big O, Oscar Robertson. But
what I meant the impact of it. I didn't say I didn't mean necessarily that was the first, but I meant the impact where you just saw that shift in the NBA. The power shift went from one place to another, and then you had a completely different conversation.
I know, but who covered those, bro? That wasn't the first time that the Lakers did that, man.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't the first time.
We forgetting about Kareem Abdul. I mean, like that's this happened
about a different. Don't get me started on Oscar Robertson now. You don't want to talk about Oscar Robertson. You're gonna talk about Kareem going.
No, I mean, I'm just saying. Like, I mean,
you gonna talk about
this ain't the first time we've seen a big time player.
I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the impact was different from a business standpoint because Shaq became an industry by himself.
He was
moving from you didn't see Kareem obviously the impact of him going from Milwaukee to LA, whatever. But from a business standpoint, other than and obviously Michael Jordan is the blueprint on basketball business. But in terms of a free agent becoming a brand somewhere else. Based on where he got, that's where we kind of started to see that LeBron took it. That it went from, and then we get to where we are today. But we're probably over time on this topic, so I'm a hush.
Yeah, I'll say this, and we'll close it out here. So I think that with the player power, and Neil brought up a great point. That honestly, with the way they treat the players, I can see how NBA players are like, you know what? Hey man, they'll trade us at the drop of a dime, or DeMarcus Cousins is not even in the league right now. We know that man should be on somebody's roster. Along with John Wall and and Carmelo that could have probably played a couple more seasons if they treated them right. So
Carmelo is not in that conversation.
Okay. This happens a lot, man.
He chose his fate.
It happens a lot, man.
Hello, said I'm about the money.
Yeah, so either way, it's I think the player empowerment is good in some ways, and then it can go left, because then as JP brought out, guys are messing up these franchises because they are pushing their way out, and then honestly, I say the franchises is their fault because now they're just trying to put cheeks in the seat. So, but anyway, we're gonna close it out here, fellas, and I just want to make sure that I mention, please go follow us on YouTube if this is where you are watching it. If not, if you're one of our audio listeners, we are on Spotify. We also on Apple Music. We're on every last episode. I try to get my Alexa to play watching that episode that failed. So we're not going to do that this time. We're just going to say go and find us. We're also on Instagram. Watch Your Narrative. We're also on X. Narrative Watch as well. So go find us on all those platforms. And also don't forget, you can go and send us a voice message as well, so you can make the show, so you can hear your voice and be a part of the Narrative Nation. So hey, we appreciate you guys. We're out. Peace.